So guys, it's your boy Phils and I'm back with another video. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to actually build a nutrition tracker or a calorie counter application that actually gives you an overview of what food you're about to eat, how many calories, you know, and then the nutrition value of that particular item that you're trying to, get into your system. It's very important to understand that most of the time, the thing that affect us as humans is actually what gets inside us, right? And it's very funny because we actually ignore that a whole lot of time. Um, just because we are very busy trying to get money and all of that, at the end of the day, we have the money, but we lost our body. So I think it's very critical that you understand maybe what you're trying to take in and see if it's something that you should actually really do, right? So the video that I'm going to be sharing with you right now is using AI automation to actually analyze a particular meal that you want to probably eat. Maybe you want to get to the restaurant, or you're trying to avoid a particular kind of meal, maybe too much particular calories that you're trying to avoid, or you're trying to like confirm if that food is actually really good for you. You take a picture and then you send it to the very platform, and then it should be able to analyze and give you um, a response back. So this particular workflow is actually inspired by Ed Hill in YouTube. I'm going to give a link to his channel. You can actually check him out, right? I watched his video and inspired me, and I felt like I should replicate that. And then I added extra stuff to actually give you like the recipe to make such meal in case if that meal appeals to you. And that's what we're going to be doing. And without wasting much time, let's quickly get into it. So the first thing I'm going to do is to show you the one that I've done, and then I'm going to walk you through actually how to create that. So we're going to be using a tool called n8n, and n8n is actually a workflow automation tool that actually enables you to create any type of workflow using AI agents, using a whole of tools, more than 500 tools that you can actually plug into n8n to actually create whatever you want to create. So it's an amazing platform that you can actually get for yourself and use. And without wasting much time, right, guys, let's quickly get into it. And if this is your first time on the channel, please, YouTube have actually indicated that a lot of you that watch our videos have not subscribed, right? We have plenty of people that watch the videos and they've not actually subscribed. Part of the reason why we've not been like dropping content as expected, but we are fully back right now, and don't forget to give us a subscription. It's going to really help us to actually know that what we're doing is helpful. And without wasting much time, guys, let's quickly get into it. So without wasting much time, this is exactly what we're going to build, right? You can see it's a very simple website that uses Next.js and AI automation at the background. So I'm going to be using Claude code for this. I'm going to show you what I've done so far that actually led to this very UI that you're seeing right now. And then we can also test it together. I'm going to go ahead and to refresh the page so that we can actually test that again. And then you can see the analysis that guy gives us. But before we do that, like I said, the backend of this guy is actually running on n8n, and n8n, like I said, is an automation tool actually that enables you to do any type of thing that you want to do. I'm not going to go deeper into this because I'm going to still touch it when on the course of the video, right? I'm going to explain how it's working. But before I proceed, I'm going to just execute the workflow so that we can actually test what we have currently. So you can see this is running on my local host at port 3003. Normally your Next.js will probably run on 3000, but I have other stuff that is running on my server on my machine that is occupying those very ports. So I had to tell it to give me on 3000. All right, so it's a very simple website. It started with a bare bone, but I have to keep asking it questions. And the prompt that you need to actually do this is already existing. Like I said, this is actually a clone from what Ed Hill did on YouTube, and I'm going to replicate and add extra spice to it. All right, and your result might actually look a little bit different from what I have right here. So, but that's not a problem. The idea is just for us to be able to get a result. So without wasting much time, let's take for instance that I pick up this food that is here. You can see there's plenty of food. You could just download this very stuff online, and I upload it here, and I tell it to analyze and make sure that my workflow is running, which is the backend is listening here, and I'm going to just hit the analyze, and I'm going to watch this guy so that he receives it, then he's processing it, then the AI is going to think about it, understand the image and everything, and give all the analysis, and then return me an output. Is when the output is back that I will be expecting something on the website. You can see that nothing has happened, still analyzing. Once this guy is back, I'll go back to you can see that there's a response here, and you give me nutrition and the recipe. So 1,442 calories, total calories, right? So we have about 69.8 gram of protein, 1.5 gram of carbs, and 83.4 gram of fat. And these are the food that were detected: salmon raw 100 gram, about 200 calories, protein in it, carbs and fat. Brown rice 1 cup, bok choy, broccoli, red cabbage raw, avocado. You can see all of the details you were able to pick up from this very image. And then I decided to ask you to give me like a recipe that I can actually make out of this guy. So you can see healthy salmon and brown rice bowl with vegetable or fermented sides, a nutrient-dense bowl featuring baked salmon. So these are like different stuff you can actually make. Instruction, preheat these, and all of that. So without wasting much time, because I don't want this video to be too long, but you can see how simple that Claude Code actually helped me build this site in a few minutes with a little bit of back and forth, and we're using a webhook from the n8n to actually do the execution. So I'm going to click on this guy so you can see the response that came. So first of all, we pick up the image from our website, and then we send it to the webhook, and the webhook gets the image. All right, so this is the endpoint, the webhook endpoint for that my site is going to listen on, and then it sends it over here, and then this guy picks the image. You can see we give it an instruction here in the user defined stuff, and they require specific format. This enables us to pass a structure on how it should return the value, then automatically pass through binary images. So it's passing image directly to the guy, to our agent. So he passes it and everything, then we'll get a response back. And we also gave it like instruction on how the response should be. So you can see that the response has all the stuff, and then the ingredients. For recipes, you have different type of recipes. You can have each recipe have an ingredient. All right, so if you have multiple ingredients, it gives you the step of actually making that. So without wasting much time, let me show you the last code that I did before we actually get started again. So this is me on Claude Code trying to actually get the code, trying to get the stuff done. So if I'm going to try to scroll to the very first, you can see this is where I started, and in a few minutes we're able to get that website up, right? And that just be it for now. And I'm going to now get into us creating a new one and then making this guy to work. So like I said, this particular video was actually inspired by Ed Hill on YouTube, and he used Lovable as his own coding tool, but I'm going to use Claude Code because I don't have subscription on Lovable. So it's not only Lovable that you can actually use, or Claude Code that you can also use Cursor if you have Cursor. I do have both. I have Cursor and I also have Claude Code, but I feel like Claude Code has more. I just prefer it for now. I've used Cursor in many other stuff, but right on this very project right now, I'm going to try out that other one. So without wasting much time, I'm going to I've made a new blank folder here. This is the one that you're currently seeing right now. All right, NutriCal. I just made this blank one, which I'm going to use to actually get this guy done. So I'm going to open a new WAP tab here. So I'm using WAP. WAP is an AI powered terminal, sort of, right? That enables us to also build stuff like that. So first of all, what am I going to do? I'm going to start the code. I've already opened this guy in the folder that I want to start executing. So first of all, I need to invoke Claude by calling Claude. And then once you invoke Claude, Claude will be ready to start taking action. So you ask a question. Claude may read, write, or execute files containing this directory. So I would say yes, I actually created that very stuff. And then with this, we are ready. But before we start, let me show you the guide on how you can actually the prompt that you need to just get this guy started. So before we do that, let's create a new workflow. And before we continue, maybe if this is your first time I've actually heard about n8n, is a workflow automation tool basically that you can actually access. This particular document is actually linked in the description, so you can actually use it as a guide. n8n.io is a platform that actually gives us this particular workflow platform that we're using, but mine is actually running on my own servers because I have to self-host is either you self-host or you use the one on their own platform on the cloud. So either ways, you still get the same experience. All right, so you just go to their site. Let me do that here. n8n.io. So this is the platform. You can sign in if you already have an account, or get started if you don't. So n8n is very deep, very lovely application. You can see all the tools that you can actually interact with, over 500 integrations. Literally, you can do any sort of thing that you want to, that you imagine to do, right? This is not like a sponsor video for anything, but to be very honest, it's very amazing. And then, like I said, we have our Claude code initialized now. The next thing is for us to also get ready to create a new project here. So I'm going to make a new workflow, and I'm going to call this guy do3 fix lab 3 car YouTube. So you can call it anything, doesn't really matter. All right, so the first thing that we need to add is a webhook trigger on webhook call, right? Webhook. So when a webhook is called, that means when we send something to that webhook, that guy should start. Remember that this flow has to start when something from our website is going to call this webhook. This guy is going to be listening. So a webhook is a sort of API that you use to give an update to somebody that is listening on that particular webhook. So this is our platform, the AI agent that actually analyzes recipes, analyzes food, and then gives us a response. So the idea is that once we want to get a food analysis, we'll send it an image, and then it takes a look at that image with the help of our AI agent. It analyzes the image and gives us back the response into the website. So that's what a webhook does. Unlike regular APIs, you just call it and then you get a response. But webhooks are always listening for an event. So when you call them, they're going to do a particular action for you and then give you a response. So it's always used to actually get feedback from a particular platform. An example is if you're making a payment if you're using a payment platform and in your service, and then when somebody makes payment using that particular platform, you want to know if that payment was successful. So the payment processors will probably send you a webhook to verify, to give you like, okay, yeah, this payment was actually successful or it was not. So that's it. So we're going to be using this particular webhook URL, and we're going to be using post method because we're going to be sending some data. So I'm going to make changes to this route to have maybe just call it analyze. All right, so you can call it anything, but just know that it's part of the endpoint. All right, so this is going to be your URL. In this case now, it's pointing to my own domain because I'm actually self-hosted. So, but if you're not self-hosted, you're going to use the URL that this guy gives you. Sometimes it can just be the string, but you might just need to modify the path. All right, so analyze is just what I gave it, and then you also need to keep this guy handy because when we start testing, we're going to be needing it. So I'm just going to drop this guy and save for now. All right, and then let's get back to code. But before you get to the code, first of all, go to this very place and copy this. This is the instruction or the prompt that you're going to give to Claude Code to actually get working. So I'm going to go back to terminal, and I'm going to paste this guy into this, and then we're going to wait. And while we're waiting, I'm going to briefly show you, this guy is getting to work right now. I'm going to show you the code that I have for the previous one. So this is the code that Claude Code was able to generate in the last one. So I'm going to just ignore that. So you have routes. This route is listening to the webhook that I showed, and you can see that the last one I used Nutri analysis. So and then the API is the route, right? And then the page itself is where we are actually getting the values. So this is the stuff that Claude Code was able to get me in no distant time, actually. So I'm going to open a new window just to show you the new code as it's coming out. So I'm going to close out this window. I'm going to go back to that place and drag this one into this place. And then it's going to first of all do some initialization. So it's asking me a question. So it's trying to do something. I'm going to give it a different thing. So I actually want it to use a different stuff to do this. So I don't want it to use Python. So in Claude Code, if you say yes, it's going to just start doing something. But I'm going to say no. Tell Claude what to do different. I'm going to use 3. I'm going to say, please use next JS and Tailwind CSS for this project in current folder. So you can see now it's initializing the JS project with Tailwind CSS, and we can now watch that. You always have to follow the prompt to actually know what it's doing. You know, this time I believe we're going to have something here. So it's going to port 3005, and we're good now. So we can actually open this guy on port 3005. So I'm going to go ahead. Remember that we already have this other one that is running on 3003. So I'm going to do localhost 3005. All right, so this one is quite simpler, right? I'm not going to like disturb it to giving me a more detailed UI and all of that, which we can actually do, right? So we can actually tell it to give us a landing page. So it doesn't really cost much to do that. So let me tell it to give me the website with a modern landing page that Apple would release, very aesthetic and well polished. All right. I'm tired. Sorry, that was supposed to be tired. So you understand my frustration. Let me completely fix the image preview and create a stunning Apple style UI. Okay. We're betting on you. Everybody's betting on you right now. A lot of people are actually tensed up already, and I'm tensed up that you are trying to disappoint everybody. You know that Claude Code is supposed to be the best agentic coding tool right now on the market, I believe. Okay, it seems it's done now. Let's go back and check. So it said, understand your food. I don't want to stress. Oh, finally. Maybe the design actually made it work. So finally, guys, we have this guy, and then let's proceed with the next step. It's taking our time already, so I'm just gonna stick with it. So the next thing we need to do is to go back to the instruction, and then the next thing that we need to do is we need to copy this very prompt, right, and show you the format of the format that we're expecting. But before you paste it, ensure that you get your own n8n webhook URL. I'm going to show you how to get this. So first of all, I'm going to copy these guys bit by bit. Let me copy. Then first of all, I'm going to copy the n8n, the one we're working on already. I'm going to double click here. Remember I said the webhook URL is just going to be what you have here in your test URL. So copy that guy, come back. Just because I'm using Claude code, right? It would have been easy to just copy everything once if the URL is correct. But because I'm using Claude code and it uses terminal, so I wouldn't be able to edit it freely. So I'm just going to now copy the remaining parts. So I'm going to say that's the structure. So when the user submits a photo, analyze the image, then send it to the following webhook, and then I pasted the remaining stuff. So it's going to handle sending this stuff to the webhook, and then we will now test it from the webhook side. So it's going to update its data to have all of these recipe, nutrition data, food item, just getting everything ready to be able to display it the way we want it. Recipe title, recipe description, then ingredients, then he also goes through them. So perfect. So he says he's done. Direct call on this guy, form data, upload images. Okay, so let's take it to the next step. So the next step is for us to create our agent. We're going to copy this guy because we need it to actually be able to set up the agent, which is the next step in the webhook. All right. So here we're also going to set this guy to use when last node finishes. All right, that's the next step. Then I think I'm going to execute this guy, right? And I'm going to go back to the site to try to upload an image. First of all, make sure that you're also saving your stuff. 3005. I'm going to click on analyze image to see if it were able to reach this guy. Sorry. So I can see that the image actually got here. So this is the image, all right? So it was successful, it was able to reach it. So the only reason we got an error in the website is because we've not been able to pass the data, which is what we need to do next. So first of all, let's continue, add the next stuff. So we're going to add agent, which is the AI agent. So the AI agent, we're going to also we're going to define the instruction. If you define instruction, you're going to set it on the user message, paste this image, this content here that you copied from that instruction guide. All right, and then you require specific output. All right, we want it to have like a specific output, just like we did in the other one. All right, so then we need to add a chat model to it. So I'm going to use OpenAI chat model. So for this, you need to have an OpenAI API account, right? Not just the normal ChatGPT account. You need to have like the one from the platform. platform.openai.com. All right, then you can get your API keys. So you need to get to this website, platform.openai.com, and then get your API keys from there. With that API key, you can now come back to your platform and then create a credential. So I already have one that I have inserted here, so which is why it's picking it up automatically. So with that done, I need an output parser. So that output parser is actually how the data will be structured for the website, because what we're doing is like the webhook on the n8n is listening for a response from the server, from our website, which is an image. So when we hand it the image, the webhook picks the image, passes it to the AI agent. The AI agent analyzes it and gives us a result, but it needs to know how to structure the data it's going to send back to the website. So that's where we're going to now give it like a structure of that information, which is this is the format. So we're going to copy this guy. So this is just like a guide, right, on how the content is going to be, like status, food, and food is a list of food items, then which have recipes, and recipe also have list of ingredients and list of steps, basic stuff. And then we're going to come back here, and then going to open it up here and then paste this. So you're just going to guide the guide to structure it well. So once it's done, I'm going to execute this very workflow to see what it's going to give us. So we already got a response, I believe. Awesome. So you can see that this is the output: status true, food, list of food, recipes. These are the recipes. So the next thing we need to do is what? We need to copy this guy in JSON, copy, and then go back to our code and tell it that this is how the response that we're expecting from the webhook, and then you should use it to render the website. Here is the response structure from the webhook. Use it to render the food data and recipes. Use tabbed menu. So I'm going to now paste that guy. So this is almost like the last lap of this very video. So if you've watched up to this point, don't forget to subscribe, because I'm actually charged up to actually create more amazing stuff like this, and there's one that I'm actually working on. And if you want to get the access to this very code, both the first code that we did, that I'm going to share it in our community. So you just click on the link and join our community, right? It's a free community where I'm trying to actually build a community around people that are creating stuff like this. I also build mobile application. If you go through this channel, you also see that we have videos where we actually build mobile applications. So right now, in the future, very, very soon, we're going to have like a charged up app development that will encapsulate a lot of AI stuffs, like charged up AI assisted app development. That will be very crazy. You get your job done faster. So you're not just going to be doing only automation. So we're going to be connecting our automation to a mobile application that would be high-end stuff. So if you're still here, it means that you're interested in what we're doing. Just click the like button, the subscribe button, share the video. It's just the motivation that I need to actually keep creating it, to know that people actually like what we're doing, and that will actually go a long way. Please just click on the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. It's just a way that the algorithm can actually know, okay, people like what we're doing, and then they can actually recommend it to other people. And I would appreciate that. So once it's done with this guy, the next thing is for us to retest by sending it another image and see how it responds, because the structure from that very guide that we gave to the output parser. The agent now knows how to, the agent is doing, what is he doing with this guy? The agent has a parser, so the parser is going to tell it the data you're going to return it in this format. All right, and that was just the conclusion. Once you have this data, so you can see that it saw beef cheeseburger with lettuce, tomato, calorie is this, name, potato, this, the total calories. Then it gave us ingredients and steps on actually how to make that guy. And you can actually test this guy with every meal. I think I've tested with every meal in the other when I was making the test workflow. So I also have another workflow that I worked on that is going to be uploaded soon. So make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that once that video drops as well, you wouldn't miss it. All right, check back on the code. Ingredients here. And it's rendering through the steps. So it goes through all the recipe steps and then map through it. So I think it's done now. So let's go back to the web page. First of all, reload. Then I'm going to give it an image. Let's use the burger. Then I'm going to run the workflow so that it's listening. So I'm going to execute the workflow. Go back, click on analyze. Let's check back to see. Yeah, it picked it up. The agent is working. Yeah, it looks like I missed a step of returning. I'm not sure. I think I already did that. So let's see what we get. Yeah, we already gave it instruction on when it's complete. Yeah, that looks good to me. Yeah, but something happened. The analysis failed. So I'm going to do a check what the issue is. Analysis failed. First of all, to debug this, we need to check the code and see where you handled it. It's supposed to be in the API route analyze. Let me confirm that I'm on the right. So I'm going to retest the workflow again, and I'm just going to look out on this plate to see what the issue is. So let me pick this one. Go back to our tool, execute it so that it listens to the next image. And then I'm going to use the network tab. The image came and I'm going to click on analyze. So the analysis is running. The payload is image, which is a binary. So I just want to establish that the response reached. I want to confirm if it's about passing the image that was the problem. So the response is this, which is correct. So something is wrong. So I can confirm that we have output status true. So I think there's an issue with it. The food data is not rendered. I can confirm response was successful. And it got this data. But the screen is showing an error Analysis failed. Please try again. Analysis failed. Please try again. Okay, this looks like it's. We're going to retest the guy. We're going to upload an image. Choose the burger again. So before we submit, we run this guy, then go back to submit. I'm going to go ahead and close this guy. Fingers crossed. Oh, finally worked. But okay, yeah, it worked. So we can have calories, protein, carbs, this, food, cheeseburger, protein, this, sweet potato. Then we'll have recipe. Guys, we are done. So you have the ingredients and you have the instruction. You can see that this worked. It gave me a different feel from what I got in the other one. You can see that this one, if I do analysis, I'm not running the other workflow, so it's a 2 workflows right now. So pretty much that's what we have on this very video. If you watched up to this point, don't forget to give this video a like, don't forget to subscribe, and also join our community. We're just starting because I've been away from the channel for a while, and I'm coming back with a full lot of packages on AI development, on AI assisted development, then extra development speed, produce more stuff, Actually, right now there's no excuses, right? But I need you guys to also give me like a kind of dopamine push by showing that you like what we're doing on the channel, and I would always put in this work to actually make sure that I drop something. Without further ado, guys, I'm going to see you on the next one. Also look out for the next video that is going to come after this, because it's already cooking. See you guys.